Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Braden, and I'm excited to bring a conversation that I think a lot of us are going to find really valuable in our GMAT journey. So today, we're very fortunate to have Ananya with us, who scored a 745 on her first GMAT attempt after 6 months of preparation, all while working full-time as a data engineer at Cisco. Wasn't about her 8-hour study days or quitting her job to prep or anything like that. It was about planning, consistency, small goals, and then the results really coming through. So, Ananya, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for having me here and for the lovely introduction. Talking about myself, I am Ananya. I am working as a data engineer at Cisco, and I have been with Cisco for about 1.5 years now. And besides my work front, my hobbies are I'm into art, reading. My guilty pleasure is binge watching, just to name a few. So, yeah.
All right, I like it. Any good shows right now that you're binge watching at the moment? I know Stranger Things just came out. That's what my little sister's talking about. So.
Oh yeah, same. I think the entire world is at this point. It's simply amazing. Yeah.
All right, hooray! I like it. So today we're going to go through a few sections. We'll try to get them all in before the end. So we're going to talk about your foundation, Ananya's foundation, daily targets, weekend review system. We're going to look at the score progression, including mocks. We're also going to discuss resources and how Ananya used those. We'll go over mock test strategy. We're going to dive into exam day to understand that strategy that got you that 745 score. And then we'll have some closing questions and final thoughts. So feel free to also comment any questions. We'll take some live as time permits as well. So let's get right to it, if that's okay with you, Ananya. So starting with the foundation daily targets weekend review system, can you walk us through what a typical week of prep looked like? What did a Monday to Friday look like for you when it came to studying?
So I start with my prep along with starting with my job. So at first it was very overwhelming entering into the corporate world, managing that, understanding things, and at the same time preparing for GMAT. So I knew that to do both, I need to keep a realistic target. So I usually try to, from Mondays to Fridays, when after office, I try to work 2 hours, like study 2 hours daily, going through concepts, practice questions, and make up for the lack of time during the weekdays, during the weekends. So I would try to study for like 4 to 5 hours each day during Saturday and Sunday.
So we can see, just before we kind of get into it, I was going to do this even before the first question, just to get people excited. So we see the mock tests and then the actual. The story where we're going to look at what makes your story especially compelling, Ananya, is this just beautiful kind of linear progression that took you to that 745. So let me leave that up for a second while we go over some more questions to get people really excited. All right. So looking at this progression, let's move on to that next question. So you mentioned micro tasks in your post, like maybe 10 critical reasoning questions, reviewing your error log, things like that. How did you set up those micro tasks? Maybe even what led you to decide to use that
So
strategy?
basically, with GMAT, what I understood was like, first of all, I gave a mock at the start of my prep and I scored 605. And then after that, I understood that. So, being from a maths major undergrad, quant was relatively easy for me, and verbal was the difficult part for me, and insights was something that was completely new. So, talking about the micro tasks, every day when I studied for 2 hours, I would keep it 1.5 hour for learning, and then the rest 30 to 45 minutes for actually practicing questions. Because you cannot understand, you won't know that you've like understood that topic unless you've like tried a couple of questions and practiced, especially in maths and DI. So that is why I always planned that every day I should solve some questions along with learning.
Okay, awesome. And how did you typically decide what micro tasks, so how you would set it up? Did you just kind of wake up and decide how to set your micro task? Was it more planned throughout the week, Monday through Friday?
So I tried to plan it throughout the week, like depending on whether how office is going to be and if I am busy with something else. So given how much time I'll be able to take out during that week, I would plan that to take up a difficult or easy topic. So like if I don't have much time to study, then I would focus more on practicing, and so it was like yeah, once at the start of the week I would plan for the weekdays.
Gotcha. Hooray. I like it. All right. So you also had talked about your backlog system where you track what you missed while you were studying. So what did clearing the backlog actually look like? I know we hear often how important that error log is. How did you go about that? How did that help you?
So basically, during the weekdays, if I would miss some topics because of lack of time, or if I got some questions wrong, so I would normally aim to focus on those topics, the missed topics, and look at the solutions of how to approach those problems which I solved incorrectly during the weekends. So every
Okay.
week, I would try to clear up my backlog, whichever it was like piled up throughout the week, so that like at the end of 7 days, like each week, I would be completed with most of the targets I set for that week.
Okay. Awesome. Did you ever, so I know we talked about work as well, Ananya, did you ever decide not to, maybe after a long day of work, to switch it up that you just couldn't do? You talked about verbal being tougher. Did you say, not doing that today, I'm going to do what's easier, or did you stay strict with it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in corporate, you have to chase deadlines, you have to complete tasks. Sometimes you have to work more than 8 hours just to complete that task. Or sometimes it was such a hectic day that I would be brain dead to actually sit and study or take up something difficult. So, of course, were a few, I would say a couple of days when I could not study or I could barely take out like 30, 40 minutes. So, if you have that less time, then you cannot take up a new topic. You can just practice a few questions, because the key here is to stay consistent. Like maybe if you leave it for one day and next day you'll also like slack off that no, I don't feel like doing it today as well, and that kind of like stretches out. So that's really problematic.
Got it. And back to the error log as well. So how did you track it? Did you use a spreadsheet? Did you have some other sort of software, any applications? What did you use to track your errors?
So I solved questions using GMAT Club and TTP. So for both of those, you can like mark the questions which you have solved incorrectly.
Okay.
So that was very helpful for me.
All right. Hooray. So when you were looking at your error log or your backlog, did you identify any specific areas that you were skipping on purpose? And what did you do about that if there were any?
Yeah, so as I previously mentioned, verbal was not my strongest point at start. So I had to put in extra efforts. And for that, along with like the course, I also looked at GMAT Ninja videos. Like once I realized that, okay, my verbal is not improving, like throughout the span of like a couple of weeks, I realized my verbal is not improving. So I decided to look at some extra resources and put plan it in a way that 50% I would be doing verbal and 50% the rest, so
Okay.
that once I like start getting decent scores and my accuracy goes up.
All right. I like it. Any strategies for your heavy work weeks to try and relax and keep focused?
Honestly, if someday you're just really tired and you don't feel like doing it, and you feel like even if you study and you won't be able to like actually grasp anything, then that day don't study. Just maybe solve like 5, 7 questions just for
Okay.
practice sake, and give yourself a day. Like that's very important because burnout can actually harm your preparation and test results on the big day, like a lot.
I feel that. I feel that. Sometimes I feel like you're just drilling a topic for 2 or 3 days and getting nowhere, and then you take a day or two break, and then you come back, and it's like it all just all of a sudden clicks for you. So,
Yeah.
all
So
right. So let's focus here on your section by section improvements. I'm going to pop this back up just for a second. We can see that we kind of started down when it came to quant, right? Mid 80s, around 80 verbal, high 70s for data, and then gradually climbed. And then obviously this beautiful test day spike right here that took you to 745. So when we see these steady climbs across all the sections after each mocks, what was your process for identifying what you needed to fix after taking the mock that would lead to you getting that better and better mock score each time?
So after solving each mock, when I did the analysis, I would make a list of topics that this is a topic which I am familiar with the concepts, but I need more
Okay.
practice or like improved speed and accuracy, or and a list of topics that I need to study again. I need to like revisit those topics
Okay.
along with the list of topics which I knew that these are sort of like prepared. So all I need to do is practice them time to time.
Okay.
So once you categorize your preparation into these different topics, that really gives you a target of what to do for the upcoming 3 4 weeks. So that before attempting the next mock, you like work on these things, and that really did help improve the scores gradually.
Okay, I like it. So I'd assume too, you were obviously studying things. So after you identified, an area after a mock, did you have a strategy on the type of content that you consumed? Was it just kind of going back to square one with it? Did you try to find different ways to study it? What did you do when you identified an area after a mock that you were struggling on?
So there were some topics which I did not understand at all from my present source of material. Then I would go to a different source like GMAT Ninja videos were a great help for this. It's
Awesome.
available for free on YouTube. So that really helped with a verbal improvement along with data insights. And apart from that, going through like how even like on GMAT Club, like on forums, you will see how people are attempting questions and how they went to the right answer. So those kinds of things really helped improve the weak topics.
Awesome. Did you ever post on the GMAT Club forum ways that you solved it?
No, 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 I did not.
No?
I
Okay.
majorly others did. Yeah.
I've done a few. I wish I would do it more. I feel like it really helps, forces you to, tell individuals how you're solving it and put it on paper. So, yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome. All
definitely.
right. So your quant jumped from an 86 on your sixth mock, so right before your actual test, up to a 90 on test day. So we'll get into the specifics of test day a little later on, but was there something that clicked there for you? Were you feeling good?
I was definitely nervous on test day. I'm not gonna lie here, but like at the start of my preparation, like in the early 2 3 months, the first thing I did was book my exam date because
Okay.
once you have like the exam date in mind, that you have like an end date, that this is the amount of work you have to do and it's fixed. Like because with GMAT you can book any slot, so people
Okay.
might tend to like keep pushing it because like they feel that they're not ready. So that is the
Okay.
first thing you need to do. And then with quant, like concept wise, there were some new concepts and some concepts I had already studied in school and college, so I was just revisiting them. But the main target here was speed,
Okay.
because quant questions, if you have like speed, then at the end you have enough time left to revisit the questions that you're not sure about, that you've marked for
Okay.
review. So like that really helps. So the more you practice, the better your speed gets at solving any type of question, so that on exam day you are not nervous and you have time to actually revisit those questions.
All right. I like it. So we have a question here as well that kind of leads into our next question here. So I'm going to show it on the screen if that's okay. So it says, how did you improve in data insights? So when we look at your data insights, right, we had still kind of that progression and a huge jump on test day from about an 80, a one to start, I think would maybe been your highest mock to 89. So what was different on test day? What helped you with data insights?
With data insights, because see, in data insights, you will get four types of questions: data sufficiency, two-part reasoning, multi-source reasoning, along with graphical insights. So, for preparation, I took up all these four subsections separately for preparation because each of them needed a bit of like a different strategy to prepare. Like talking about multi-source reasoning, it is, I think everyone believes that it is one of the hardest subsections in data insights because you will have like
Mhm.
multiple maybe tables or paragraphs and you have to like make sense of all of it together and then solve the next few questions. So
Mhm.
that is not only difficult, but it is also time consuming. So, answering the question, how did you improve in data insights? For topics like MSR and graphical problems, when you're practicing, you need to like kind of like you make notes on like your notepad when you're like solving the question. And for problems like these, if they are not structured, then it will be harder for you to solve whatever questions come along with that data. So with practice, you kind of like start noting them information down in a more structured manner, so that when you actually look at the problem and then you look at what you've like understood from it, it'll take less time and you'll also be able to understand easily. Because if like in multi-source or graphs, there's like you have to note down values and all these things, and you don't do that properly, that can lead to incorrect answers.
Gotcha. So verbal, moving on to that one too. So started out 80 on our first mock, peaked on the sixth mock at 84, and then 82 actual. So can you walk us through your verbal? I know you said at the start that that was kind of the one that you struggled with the most out of the three. How did you study for that? How did you try to address any errors?
Well, with verbal, that was definitely a little difficult for me as compared to the other sections. So, what I mainly did was the most basic thing is practice more and more, uh, give it more attention as compared to the other ones, because that was my weak area. And I also went through GMAT Ninja because in that when they like solve any question, they tell you how to attempt it, which
Mhm.
I believe for GMAT verbal is very important. That not just understanding what the question is, but also what is the correct or the most optimal way to attempt it.
Mhm.
So with practice, I got gradually better at it, and my main focus was to like keep the score consistent, even if it does not grow. The main goal was that it should not drop. So that was my strategy for that.
Gotcha. Did you have a preference or one that was better between reading comprehension and critical reasoning? Was there one that you preferred to get questions on?
Comprehension. Reading comprehension was easier for me. I mean,
Okay.
critical reasoning can get very confusing at times because how to
Okay.
like strengthen, weaken all those questions. So yeah.
Gotcha. I like it. Reading comprehension is my better of the two as well, which is surprising. Because I my mom used to have to like lock me in my room for the library reading program to get me to read. So maybe it's that stress coming back up while I take mocks as well that is helping me later on. So let's move on to, I know we touched a little bit on the resources. We talked about GMAT Club, the Ninja videos, as well as TTP. So you said you used a mix of free and paid resources. So how did each one of those resources fit into your prep? Maybe what did you start with, and what did you maybe go harder on towards test day?
So I start with test prep. I took the 4 months course for that. So that was very helpful because they really give you a proper structured learning path as to like these are the topics, these are the associated questions with it, and they had like prep videos and a lot of practice questions, which was really helpful, especially for DI and verbal. And then if in some topics I would not understand
Mhm.
TTP, I would refer GMAT Ninja videos or forum, as I just like previously mentioned. So I used a combination of these sources. So starting with TTP, I prepared for 6 months, but I only took the course for 4 months because I wanted to keep the first half of my prep more learning focused and the
Okay.
second half more practice focused.
Okay.
So once the course ended, I majorly focused on practicing questions and revisiting topics which I needed to revisit and mocks.
Okay.
But
Very cool. All right. So it sounds like you said maybe a few months in. So when did you decide the TTP was worth the investment? Was that something you planned to do all along? Was it something that a few months into studying you decided that you needed something more, something different?
So when I first started, when I was like going through the syllabus and everything, so I kind of like felt that managing prep with the job would be hard, and just going unprepared and in an unsystematic way would not get me anywhere. So that is why I took TTP, so that I have like some targets and I have like a more better roadmap to follow. So
I
I
like
would
it.
say it was definitely a good investment because it really helped me approach the preparation in a systematic manner.
Okay. Any resources that you tried that didn't work for you? I know we might be putting some resources on blast, but were there any resources where you were like, this is not for me?
So I tried one or two mocks of like not the official ones. I tried like some different mocks, but
Okay.
that honestly was not very helpful for me
Okay.
because like the official mocks, the OG mocks as we like to call it, is I think those that should be the heavy focus area in terms of like test practice as compared to the other ones because that is very close to what you get on the exam day, and they also
Okay.
give you a very nice analysis of your questions, everything that you attempted.
All right. We talked about GMAT Ninja videos as well, and I know that's a fan favorite. So, how did you use them? Did you binge watch them off the start? Did you just pull them up topic by topic? Did you rewatch them over and over on topics that you were struggling with?
So, no, I did not binge watch it. I
No.
mainly watched it for the topics which I was like, I felt like I need to revisit these and I need a different approach and some more help. So, I would just search up the
Okay.
topic and go through that video. Sometimes once was enough, sometimes I had to go through it more than once. So, but yeah, it was definitely very helpful for me.
All right. Very nice. So GMAT Club 2 was one of the ones we mentioned with the massive question bank and forums. So how did you navigate it without getting overwhelmed?
So, I on GMAT Club, I majorly focused on 2 to 3 sources, being the previous years and the OG guides. So, like
Okay.
GMAT Club gives you the option to filter, right, to through all those sources, like where the questions are coming from. Because the question bank is so huge, I don't think it's possible to solve all of it.
Right.
Yeah, it can get very overwhelming. So I try to stick to the official sources only.
All right. Got it. Were there any specific GMAT Club features or threads that you found extra valuable?
First of all, it would definitely be that GMAT Club puts up the OG guides questions as something you can solve along with the forums where you can see if how anybody else attempted it. So that was definitely very helpful. And I also went through like the forum where like people post articles of how they prepared, how that worked for them, and that was really helpful because it gives you a lot of tips and tricks to follow, which helps. And that is also a reason why I posted a small comment myself as to how I prepared.
I like it. My favorite's got to be the timer. I swear I've used it so much now that I don't even now without even looking at the clock. I can feel when it's within like 10 seconds of 2 minutes now. So that's got to be my absolute favorite. Did you use the timer at all when you were doing
Oh,
questions? Yeah.
I use the timer. Like when I first started preparing and attempting questions, I did not time it at first
Okay.
because I wanted to like focus on the accuracy first. And
Okay.
once that was to a fairly acceptable level, I started timing my question practice
Okay.
on GMAT Club, because like that, yeah, I have to do like 30 questions in 15 minutes and or 30 questions in 30 minutes, like these kinds of things.
Okay.
So I was really bullish on that.
Okay. I like it. All right. So let's take a look here, see if we have any additional comments on that thread before moving on. So we have a question on our mock test strategy. So if we move on to that, um, let's pull this up here actually. Start with this one from Samkit. See if it'll show here. All right. So how many mocks did you give? And did you also use any GMAT sectional tests?
Okay, so I gave all the
GMAT
six.
club sectional tests.
Yeah, am I audible? Hello?
Yep.
Oh, okay. So I gave the six official mocks, which I think two are free and four you need to purchase. So I used those. And no, I did not try the GMAT sectional tests. What I was usually doing was that select a set of questions and then set up a timer and then just solve them to like work on my speed.
Got it. So, what was your mock taking test routine? Did you do it at the same time every day? Same conditions, same spot?
No, no, I did not do that. I
I can.
was
Okay.
So I started with giving mocks once every 2 weeks, and then later on I focused, improved, like increased the frequency to give it once every week when I
Okay.
was taking off, like when I was getting closer to the test date. So after every mock, I would do a small analysis and then plan whatever I had to do for the next upcoming week.
Okay. How long did you spend analyzing each of your mock tests? Did you just look at it and plan for the next week? Did you spend a lot of time on reviewing your mocks?
I did not have to do that much
Okay.
because so with the official mocks they give you like a proper sectional uh, percentile, and it is the result like how you get it on the actual day. They show the analysis of the questions and everything in the same way. So I already had what I attempted correctly and incorrectly. I just had to go through it and sort it out into what I needed to do.
All right. And what was, when I touched on this a little earlier, what was the spacing between your mocks? Was it very evenly spaced leading up to exam day? Did it change as you got closer?
Yeah, so I gave mocks once every 2 weeks at first,
Okay.
and then in the final 5 6 weeks or 3 4 weeks, I would say I gave it once every week.
Okay. Got it. How close was your mock 6 to your actual test?
So I kept 1 week's gap between those two because the final week I just wanted to relax and not go through any new topics or any new questions, because
Okay.
that would have been very disheartening and that would have like really impacted my confidence.
Okay. I like it. All right. So moving on to exam day, can you walk us through your day of the exam, the morning of your test? How'd you sleep? Any practice problems before, like warm up?
No, no, no practice problems. I
Okay.
tried to sleep. I was very nervous. So I don't think if I got much sleep before the exam day. It was just functioning on a lot of coffee.
Okay.
And so yeah, I kept it cool and chill and relaxed like the first on the exam day and a couple of days before it. And like as I said, not take on any new topics, because I think once you're like calm and in a peaceful state of mind and not like feeling anxious, that really impacts your performance on the test day.
Okay. I like it. What time of day did you take it? Did you take it in the morning, in the afternoon?
So late morning, I it was around 11:30 a.m.
Okay.
So
Okay. I like it. So we have a question here on test day as well. Let me try and get that up from Kendar. So while I'm trying to get up on the screen, is what was your section sequence on exam day?
So, for me, when I was giving mocks, I tried two to three different combinations of section sequences. And in the end, I finalized the section sequence as verbal, followed by DI, followed by quant. So, because like verbal was something that
Okay.
was confusing and hard for me, so I wanted to tackle that first and then go ahead with DI
Okay.
and end it with quant, which was for me like a strong topic for me.
All right, got it. And thinking back to your scores, so you peaked on test day. You shot up to that 745 after your previous mock 675. So did something feel different during the exam? Did you feel the same as when you were taking mocks?
No, I was definitely more nervous because it is a very different setup from giving a mock test in your home.
Okay.
And but yeah, because like I was familiar with the concept of like the how to attempt it because I gave a lot of mocks, and also I made it a point to practice with the on-screen calculator because that is important. Because if you like practice with a different calculator and on the exam day, that can actually hamper your speed. But
Got it.
yeah, I was definitely more nervous, but I decided to just like take it on question by question.
Okay. I like it. Was there a moment during the test that you felt a little extra rattled? And if so, how did you refocus?
Yeah, so well, while you are attempting questions, it is very important that time to time you do take a look at like how much time is left and how many questions are left. And in DI, I was like in the end there were like a lot of questions left and not much time, so I did get a little rattled, but I just decided to somehow just like go through it one by one and as soon as possible. But yeah, that can, I think, with if you have less time left and a lot of questions, that can really shake your focus. So it is really important that you try your best not to let that get to you.
All right, so now we can hop over to closing advice, if that's okay, and kind of go over some questions that maybe didn't come up. So, if somebody has, let's say, only 3 months instead of six, what would you tell them to prioritize?
So, if you only have 3 months instead of six, the first thing you need to realize is that in such a short span of time, and given how vast GMAT syllabus is, there is a high chance that you will not be able to study and practice each and every topic. And so, don't try to do that because, see, the goal here is not to learn everything, but the goal here is to score well. So, instead of going through say all 10 topics, you can go through 7 because of the lack of time, but then make it a point to master those 7 so that when on the test day when anything comes from those 7 topics, you attempt those and you are able to crack it. And if it's just 3 months, be very bullish on practicing questions and giving a lot of mocks because you have lesser time to mentally prepare yourself for it. So the more you practice and the more mocks you give, that will really help you. And along with that, because you give mocks, you will get a better idea of what do you need to actually learn so that you don't waste what little time you already have on learning topics that you're already very comfortable with.
Okay, I like it. Did you have, so going into test day, I know we're hopping back a little bit here. Did you have a list of topics where if a question came up regarding that you kind of, you know, gave it a 30 seconds, guessed, and moved on?
Yeah, so for me, the time and work problems, I did understand that, but it was always a little, I don't know. Sometimes I would be able to solve it, sometimes it would be a little difficult.
Right.
So that if that came up, or maybe in verbal, like, so there is a strengthen the argument. So that can get very confusing. So usually those I would like mark for review and attempt the rest. And if I had time, I would visit them so that I had more time to focus on those. But I would not like sit and spend most of my time in the first attempt, because that would take up all the time I have for the other questions, which I have a better chance at answering correctly.
Okay, I like it. So, and then looking back to, so you obviously had the 6 months. Is there anything that if you were to do it again that you thought was maybe lower value that you would change up and not do over those 6 months?
So, what I did was, like, with the rest of the mocks, I started giving them very late into my preparation.
Okay.
So I think if I would have given, if not the official mocks, maybe some other mocks, and I would have continued that probably once a month in the starting 3 months of my preparation, that would have helped me prepare in a more streamlined manner.
Okay.
And that could have saved me a lot of time, I feel.
Okay. Got it. So what did you do um, on, so I know you said too, let's go back to, we talked about the weekend, how you would clear your backlog during the weekend. So what did that look like after, a full work week with studying and then?
So, one thing, if you are like preparing for GMAT along with a job or maybe something which is like requires a lot of commitment, you need to understand that you will have to take a step back on your social life, because you cannot do everything together. So that you have to make that sacrifice sometimes. And because sometimes I would, during the weekdays, I would not get time at all because of office, or maybe I was just so drained. So you have to put in the extra hours on the weekends.
Okay.
So, yeah, and that would be clearing topics I could not take up during the weekday. That would be attempting more questions. That would be doing more research as to what could be the better resource for studying this and all that. So, yeah, because I had little time during the weekdays, I had to put in a lot more time during the weekends to make up for that.
Okay, I like it. You can have a social life. You just have to find maybe somebody else who's studying the GMAT, or get your family to study the GMAT with you, right? That
I
could be a
mean,
good mix.
oh, it sucks. You're like in your room studying, and outside your friends are like partying and talking and having fun. That really gives you a lot of FOMO, honestly.
GMAT study party. That's what I would do. I like it.
That is definitely, that would be of great help if somebody can do that.
So I guess on that note too, did you have anyone that you relied on? Anyone in your family, any friends that maybe you bounced ideas off of that helped you study, or did you go at it alone?
I mostly went through it alone,
Okay.
and just like maybe connecting with people here and there, that how did you prepare or all that,
Okay.
through forums, or maybe just somewhere if you would find a friend of a friend or something. But yeah, like, but I would say it is great if you can like have like a group of people who are studying together, because that really helps you stay focused and like, so yeah.
Gotcha. I like it. So we have a few questions here too from the crowd, so I'll try to mix those in as well. So checking on the number of questions correct and the time taken per question. So did you find was that 2 minute average easy to keep up with?
It was easy to keep up with in Quant,
Okay.
but in verbal, so like for critical reasoning, you have to try to answer it in under 2 minutes 15 seconds.
Okay.
Because but for RC, like how it would be, like it would be one paragraph and maybe 4 to 5 questions associated with it.
Okay.
So instead of like just there can be two ways to attempt it, that you go through the question and then you look at the passage and answer. But
Hmm.
I personally believe that is not the right way to approach it. So, and I know like when you're reading through the passage and you're seeing the clock ticking, that really gets you a little nervous and you get stressed.
Right.
But you need to understand that during the first question, if you spend like a proper amount of time understanding what the passage is saying,
Hmm.
and even though it takes maybe 3 to 4 minutes, but then you can make up for that time in the next questions that come for that passage, because if you already have a good understanding, you don't have to revisit it, so you can quickly answer it off. So that was my approach for verbal. Talking about I took up a similar approach like RC for MSR and graphical questions, because that was also like one question, and I had to answer like multiple questions with that data. And but yeah, in the end, I would say the more you practice, the more it like improves it. Even if it the average time goes down from like 2 minutes 10 seconds to 2 minutes 5 seconds, that's great, because that is on the test day, it would be of great help for you.
I like it. I know too. There's a strategy when you solve. So when you solve the question super quick, maybe in quant or verbal, and you went, man, I only spent 40 seconds on that question. Did you typically go back and do it again, or did you just move on to the next question?
I in the first round of going through all the questions, if I solved something very fast, I would not go back to it in the first go.
Okay.
But if I had time left in the end, like a couple of minutes, and I wasn't sure that okay, did I answer this correctly? So I just had those marked for review, and whatever time I had, I would just go through those, and that really did help me in quant. So,
Okay.
like with two questions, I solved them pretty quick, but I wasn't sure about that,
Okay.
and I tried to keep up like a good speed. So at the end, I had like 5 7 minutes left, and
Okay.
I went back to those two questions, and I realized that I had answered them incorrectly. So I corrected the answer, and that helped me.
5 to 7 minutes, man. I would kill for like 1 or 2 minutes left at the end of a mock. That's awesome. So, what would you tell somebody who maybe keeps postponing their test date because they don't feel ready? Did you postpone yours at all, or were you super strict? No. All right. Hooray.
Did not postpone mine because talking about feeling not ready, I don't think anybody ever feels like fully ready that yeah, I'm gonna ace it, beat any competitive exam, beat GMAT, beat any other exam. Like I don't think you can ever be completely ready. So you just have to take that leap of faith. Go ahead, give that exam, give it your best shot, and it may or may not work for you, but that's fine. You gave it a shot, so that's more important there.
I like it. All right. Let's see if we have any more questions here. I know we talked too about, if you could go back and telling yourself, maybe even aside from the study plan and consistency, is there anything you would tell yourself 6 months before leading up to the prep? Maybe relax more, go out with friends and party every now and then during the 6 months.
It is important to do that because it really helps you not get burnt out, which is very important. Because if I would, obviously, I could not go out or relax or do like pursue my hobbies as much as I like to, but it is important that you don't like completely remove those things from your life, because you need something to like recharge and relax. And some days, if you don't feel like doing, then don't be so hard on yourself. That is very important. Yeah.
I like it. Hooray. All right. And you also had mentioned when we were talking at the start about one-on-ones with individuals who are studying for the GMAT. Would you like to speak a little bit to that at all?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
Yeah. So maybe like a consulting students or talking to students about who are taking the GMAT on TopMet.
Yeah, so for that, like, so once I got my score, and so TalkMate is basically a forum where like anybody can go, and
Okay.
like, whoever is a creator there, you can book like a one-on-one session or an Ask Me Anything session
Awesome.
with them. So I have opened a channel there. So if anybody wants a more personalized doubts, or they want like how to prepare, how to plan the topics and everything, so they can book it with me from that site. I will share that link in the comment section after this live is over. So if anybody wants that, sure, you're more than welcome.
Awesome. I like it. Hooray. All right. So thank you so much. I'm going to give you a final word, but thank you so much for spending the time with us today, talking about this. The consistency is just really stunning. The micro test, the discipline, I would even say, Ananya was just, it's super awesome. And the results paid off right on test day with that 745 score. So thank you so much. And I'll give you final word. Any additional information for the viewers?
So to anybody who is preparing for GMAT, I would say besides being consistent and disciplined, I mean, yes, it is very important to be disciplined, but you don't have to be so difficult and strict with yourself. You have, like, if you feel like you're not getting it right, don't beat yourself up about it. Try it again, don't give up, keep trying, and your results will definitely pay off. Have that faith in yourself.
All right, hooray! Thank you so much. Thank you also for bearing through me with the technical difficulties. So I apologize, but we got through it. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending, and have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.